предоставить слово генеральному секретарю Всемирного центра Бахаи господину Дэвиду Рутштейну. Пожалуйста.
Good afternoon. Esteemed and beloved religious leaders, all the Kazakhstan government representatives, and all the distinguished speakers, guests, brothers and sisters, I'm delighted to have the opportunity to address you here today in this truly unique forum. Today I raise a few questions and offer a few thoughts from the Baha'i international community on the role of the leaders of world and traditional religions in the spiritual and social development of mankind in the post-pandemic period, the theme of this conference. In delving into this subject, perhaps we can begin by acknowledging that the human race is both one and interdependent. Indeed, humankind is one species comprised of people with an infinite diversity of physical traits who create and live in different societies and cultures, all of which occupy the same single planet. A dispassionate assessment of the coronavirus pandemic vividly demonstrates this intertwined facet of our existence, our essential human oneness and interdependence. Though the pandemic changed the lives of everyone, the disunified and disjointed response revealed inequities and led to wave after wave of coronavirus disease and death across the globe. If national decision makers recognized that the welfare of all of humanity is inextricably bound up with the welfare of any of its segments, would this not have made a truly global response to the pandemic more likely and more effective? I believe the answer to this question is yes. So, how can leaders of world and traditional religions foster a greater understanding of the oneness and interdependence of humanity? In answering this, we must first examine the role of religion itself. In truth, Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, states, "Religion is a radiant light and an impregnable stronghold for the protection and welfare of the peoples of the world. Should the lamp of religion be obscured, chaos and confusion will ensue, and the lights of fairness and justice, of tranquility and peace, cease to shine." The core spiritual values held in common by the world's religions, which emanate from the same divine source, contain within them the principal means for the reconciliation and advancement of the earth's peoples. The leaders of religions, vested with authority and respected by most of the world's population, can be the chief promulgators of these concepts. But shouldn't a fair assessment of religion's contribution towards unity and interdependence, towards peace and social justice, also include an objective historical accounting? While religions and their leadership have played positive and indispensable roles, they have also been responsible for immense suffering. Regrettably, much darkness and confusion can be attributed to the misappropriation of the symbols and instruments of religion by individuals and institutions with selfish intentions. Religious prejudice continues to block human progress, engendering the intolerance and corrupting expressions of true religious values. The purpose of religion, Baha'u'llah states, is to establish unity and concord amongst the peoples of the world. Make it not the cause of dissension and strife. Care must be taken by leaders of religion to safeguard it from the forces of extreme orthodoxy on the one hand and complete abandonment of spirituality on the other. And those who wield authority must be worthy of public trust. As such, they must be willing to be held accountable for their words and actions. Baha'u'llah states, "Let deeds, not words, be your adorning." Trustworthy leaders find their highest expression in service to others and to the community as a whole. They welcome collective decision-making and collective action and are motivated by a commitment to justice and to the well-being of all of humanity. If true to these principles and ideals, how can leaders of religion further contribute to the spiritual and social development of humankind? Meaningful spiritual and social development depends on a shared understanding of certain basic principles. These principles allow humanity to act in ways that are consistent with the rational soul, the chief instrument of which is the human mind, unencumbered by the man-made barriers that keep us apart. Thus, development efforts must be guided by a vision of the type of world community we wish to create and be animated by a set of universal values. We must champion the abolition of all forms of prejudice and exclusivity while celebrating the diversity of the human race. We must defend the right of every individual to investigate truth for themselves. We must passionately uphold in our words and our actions the equality of men and women. We must unequivocally advocate for the harmony of science and religion. We must recognize that each human being is endowed with latent capacities, and thus everyone must have access to education, especially girls, who are the first teachers of subsequent generations.